Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to thank everybody for inviting me to Poland. I'm very honoured and privileged. It's the second time I've done a presentation. I'm more of a practitioner than a person that stands up and delivers theory. Obviously the theory is very, very important, but I like the practical side, and you'll see that this afternoon. My presentation is on practice and what I practice and why I practice it. Before I kick off with that, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about myself, my background, and where I come from. Come from London in England. I was a young player that never quite made the grade. I had 2 years as a young player at West Ham United and 5 years at Leyton Orient. Never making a professional. Went straight into coaching, and I played senior non-league football. So, at the end of the presentation, I welcome questions. So as we work through, feel free to make any notes, and at the end, I'll try and get through the presentation because I like to interact with you as an audience and give you the chance to participate. So, when I was asked to present, I said, what do you want me to present on? Practice. You're a coach, what do you think about practice? And I had a great coach that I worked with years ago, and he said, you get what you practice, so practice the game. And I have an issue with a lot of coaches who work on drills, not what I call practices, on drills, that have nothing to do with the game. And as a young player, I remembered, I like playing the game. Put me in the game. Let me see where it relates to the game, because that's what I want to become, a better player. So as I progress through as a coach educator for the Football Association and work with all players want to play the game. So the practices that I put on this afternoon are related to the game, hence why I put that. And as the theory develops, it becomes about practical. But like I say, feel free to make notes. So, like that. As you can see, I'm not the best. So, these are the experiences I've had as a player and as a coach. These are the clubs that I've worked at. And you can see them for yourselves. Tottenham Hotspurs, 4 seasons. West Ham United, where we produced a lot of players, 8 seasons. I had 2 separate spells at Charlton Athletic, 2 years, and at Leyton Orient, like I said, as a young player, I had 5 seasons, but 7 seasons as a coach. Stevenage, I had a couple of seasons, and Macclesfield Town and Bishop Stortford. So all levels of football from there to the Premier League. So I've had a great amount of vast experience at all levels. But also within those levels of clubs, I've also held various positions within the clubs. So, from being a coach, working with very young players, an academy coach, working from under 9s to under 16s, working as youth team coach, under 18s, to being a head of coaching, technical director, working with the reserves, which in European terms is the B team, to being a first team assistant manager and coach, and being an interim manager. So the manager gets the sack, and I go in and I take his place. Obviously I've been in scout and talent identification as well. So not only looking for individual players, but doing match reports for the first team. So, also as a coach educationist, I get sent to various countries, and I've been to lots of countries, and like I say, very honoured privileged to come to Poland. And as a senior coach educator, although I'm only young, considered quite young, I've had that should be 25 years experience now of developing our coaches. So it's fantastic to have the opportunity to work with players and also work with coaches. And I feel it's great to be able to contribute to both. But I'm a good believer, great believer. If I'm going to tell and develop coaches, I need to work with players. I need to know what your experience is as coaches or what you're experiencing. And also, having been a player, it's great to have fulfilled all the roles and to mentor people. I think that's great. So, as you can see, I've been round to Italy, France, Germany, Portugal, Holland, Spain, out in the Caribbean, in Antigua, the United States, Northern Ireland, and Poland. Now, what are we doing with our coaches? What are we going to coach? What are we going to actually deliver in our coaching sessions? For me, both our players and coaches needs to evolve and move on. And we must be able to change. And Chris has mentioned we need to evolve, we need to move on. We need to listen to new ideas. Players now are physically quicker and cover more distances at higher speeds. The ball travels quicker between players, and teams are making more passes and more goals are scored on the counter-attack. These are facts. And we have to anticipate what's going to happen in the future so we can equip our coaches and our players to prepare our players. And it's highly likely that the game of the future will be even quicker, more technical and tactical, and therefore the demands on the players are elevated. Okay? We must therefore aspire to lead and develop our players by looking forwards and anticipating the needs and necessities to participate and compete at the highest level. We must aim to produce technically excellent players who are both efficient and creative with exceptional decision-making skills, the ability to make the right decision, to make the right pass at a given time. And these players need to play under intense pressure and in very small, tight areas. And it goes with what Chris says, we need to practice what's going to happen. We need to test players. We need to put them in them areas of pressure so they experience it. Players must be coached using the most up-to-date methods and be taught the game in a correct manner from an early age. So it's very important that when we start out, their journey is progressive. So, the modern effective coach, what does she look like? The way to produce the players we want for the future is to train, develop, qualify and support more creative coaches who possess the technical knowledge and skills to work effectively with the various and specific age groups and also be excellent teachers of the game. And it's my own personal belief we have many good coaches in our country, but they coach bits of the game, which is important, but they don't coach the bigger picture. They don't coach the game, they don't teach the game. And I think that we need to improve the coaching or teaching of the coaches to pass that on to the players. These coaches, they must understand the needs of the individual player, providing the needs of participation, performance and excellence. They must be age-specific, appropriate coaches who specialise and understand the basic four corners. And we talk about the LTPD, the long-term player development. So it's important to understand about the psychological, the physical aspects of and the needs of the young player, as well as the social implications and the various problems that children face. And again, it's really important we understand the family, how important the family is in playing a part in that social side, all things that have been said earlier. Massively important. The coaches must make the sessions appropriate, educational, challenging and enjoyable. So every session needs to be a challenge. And we spoke about that, Chris spoke about challenging players, vitally important. They must maximise the opportunity for all players at every stage of development and create environments that players need to play and practice without the fear of failure. So they need to be challenged, they need to be tested, brought out of their comfort zone, whilst also allowing mistakes and being able to rectify it, which is massively important. So, what's my vision? What's my philosophy? Everybody talks about DNA, philosophies, very overused words, but what does it mean to me? And you gain experience as a young player, as a coach, through life, through family. So what are my values as a coach? What do I want to see? Now I want to play an entertaining brand of possession-based football. I want to play possession-based football. Well, I'm English, play long. No, I want to play the right way. What is the right way? I want to educate players to play the right pass at the right time. But for me, it's based on possession, and it's built on a solid defensive platform. You're going to have to help me out here. That's it. So, I think having a solid defensive unit is a good start to allow me to implement my beliefs of playing a possession-based game. So, when attacking, I'll be able to play from the back and play through the thirds. Yeah, we talk about playing from the back. That's what you're going to see this afternoon. I'm a great believer. People stand up and say, I play possession-based game. But they don't know how to show it. So I can talk the talk. I can talk about, I want to play possession. Can I show it? And that's what I aim to do this afternoon. So, I want to play from the back. We want to pass with quality, linked to intelligent movement and support off the ball. We want to play penetrative and incisive and varied attacking play that has quality finishing. So we need to be able to penetrate. And we can penetrate in many ways. We can be direct, or we can, and as I say in England, we can play penetratively, playing long, and bludgeon people, and play physical, or we can be more like the Spanish, the Barcelonas, where we can play incisive little passes, and we can scythe and cut people open like a surgeon's knife, playing through little gaps. And that's what we aim to do this afternoon. So, we want to play on the counter-attack when it's possible, and the game now has evolved, and many teams will sit deep to play on the counter-attack. It's a strategy, and it's moving forward down. Lots of teams are employing that. So we need to know how to do that. So when we're defending, we need to establish a tactical approach where all players are employed. So from the very front to the very back, we know our responsibilities. We know how to defend. We defend from the front, okay? We need to be able to play in a calculated and assertive approach to defending. So we need to know when to defend early and defend high up the pitch. And we also need to know and recognise when to drop deep and set the block. And we'll educate the players to know when and where, and everybody will know their roles and responsibilities. So the systems of play that we employ will be built around the players. And this is an interesting one, because if you go to Barcelona, that's the system. However, you've seen recently, although that's the system, you can implement a different way to play, and you can be more direct. So, as a coach, I need to understand about being able to change and adapt, and systems can morph and change into other systems. And sometimes you'll see sides now, they will actually change things and change their shape. And you've seen it a lot this year at Manchester United in particular. And as you know, there's been some adverse publicity. And there's many people that will advocate, pick one system and play it. So, you know, it's important to see your views on that. So, our players need to have an intelligence and understanding, and to be versatile, and to be able to adapt to cope to cope with change and be able just to maybe implement other sort of strategies and also exploit the other team's weaknesses. So that's my playing philosophy, but this is a coaching philosophy, and it's maybe different. So when I coach, how do I coach? What are my ways of thinking? What are my ways to encourage the players to be creative, whilst also being able to fit into the system that we employ? So, I believe that you treat players with respect, and I have a saying in life through family values, I treat other people how I wish to be treated myself. And I think that's a good start. So in terms of getting respect off of players, I need to implement that. I need to respect other players and respect their opinions. I want to encourage my players to become students of the game. I want them to watch it. I want them to analyse it. I want them to really want to become a better player. I want them to watch Rakitic. I want them to watch many players, Iniesta, Xavi. I want them to be able to actually go away and study. What do those players do? What are their habits? What do they actually do? So, we've just got a blip on here. Now, so when I'm coaching, I want my players to be able to express themselves in training and coaching so they can understand what we want to achieve, but they don't play with any fear. But remembering they're a small cog in a wheel, and it's been said earlier about being part of a team. The team is bigger than the individual. The individuals are very important. I train the individual, I coach the individual, I want to make him or her a better player. I want to improve their understanding for the sake of the team. And I think what we've seen recently in Germany, and I use them as an example, there's no star players. Everybody is valued as a player. Every player is important. And that's massive for me. And you see certain teams, without being negative, we talk about the Barças, we talk about Real Madrid, and we talk about people being unselfish and playing for the team. And I think it's important as a coach that we instill that, and we have that in our values, that the team, the club, they'll be there forever. And as individuals, we pass through. Players pass through clubs. Coaches and managers pass through clubs, but the club will always be there. So, it's important that we instill that in our values. So, what are we going to coach? Now, these are the moments, these are the key teaching points in the game. These are the principles of attack and defence. And if you're going to be a coach, you need to understand the bigger picture. You need to understand what attacking is about. It's about dispersal, creating space, as an individual, as a unit, as a team. And I hope to show you that this afternoon. We need to have movement, clever movement, timing of movement, triggers, when do I move, where do I move? And we talk about the obvious ones about support and penetration. So we move, we support, we find space for a reason. Not because they're principles of play, for a reason to open teams up, to penetrate them, to play between the lines, to get beyond the other team. So it's really important, as a coach, I understand what I'm trying to achieve. Thank you. So, and the last one, innovation and creativity in terms of attacking. Have we got creative players? Have we got players that have got the ability to beat players, do something unexpected? And when we talk about creativity, we have a tendency to think about the flair players, the dribblers. What about the players that play at the back, the goalkeeper? Can we give innovation and creativity to them? Yes, we can. Okay? Now, obviously on the defending, the principles of play are delay, depth, compactness, balance, control and restraint. So when I set a programme, I need to cover those things. Now, the moments in the game are very important. The 5 moments in the game. We hear this word transition mentioned a lot now. A very important word. So, the 5 moments in the game are basically attacking. When the opponents are in balance, so when the opponents are organised and have recovered, how do we play against that? How do we attack against a team that's organised? And then we talk about transition. How do we attack when the opponents are out of balance? They're disjointed. They may be being attacking, they've lost possession, now bang, we win it. Can we go and exploit their little bit of out of balance, their little bit of maybe lack of concentration? Can we go and hurt them? Can we go and, within them 5 or 6 seconds, create an opportunity? This is what we need to coach to our young players. They need to have an understanding of that. So, when we're defending, can we defend when we're in balance, when we're organised, when we're all set, we're all in our slots, we're ready? But we also have to prepare our team for defending against the counter-attack. So we've now just attacked, we've lost possession, can we get back and deny that opportunity? So defending what we call out of balance is really important. And obviously the last one, we need to be able to attack and defend against and have our own set plays. We need to know how to defend against throw-ons, corner kicks, free kicks, etc. And they're the 5 moments of the game. So, what are our attacking strategies and priorities? So, we need to be a potent attacking force. Teams need to be able to pass the ball accurately and at varied speeds, as well as retain possession under severe and concerted pressure from opponents. So we need our players to be comfortable in possession. And we're going to talk about the practices, what we need to do, because these are big messages. These are things that everybody states, everybody wants. But how do we actually do it? And we'll come on to that as we work through the presentation. We need to develop players with the intelligence and speed of thought to initiate counter-attacks, and it's vital in the development of the modern player. Because we've already said players and teams will employ a tactic to sit deep, they'll set a block. How do we beat that? We need to have players to be intelligent and to be able to recognise it and to go out and execute what they need to do. Counter-attack. Can we counter-attack with speed, control and directness into attacking third of the field? So when we regain that possession, can we get some momentum? Can we get players going in advance of the ball? Can we be direct? So, if opportunities for the counter-attack are denied, attack should be built through accurate and controlled ball retention, inclusive and incisive use of possession. So we can't counter-attack. We're too slow. The opportunity is lost. The defending team drops quickly. They're as organised as us. Have we now got the intelligence and the patience to build possession? Yeah? To not become frustrated. To actually wait the moment. To move the ball. To manipulate the ball. To move people. To open them up. Can we do that? And that's been a big thing that's been levelled at the English over the years. We're not very patient. We do 7, 8 passes. We haven't gone forward. We better get it forward. No, we need to be patient. We need to educate our players. No, keep the ball. Move the ball. Wait the opportunity to penetrate. So, we need clever movement from players to support and rotation of positions. It should be used to create space to receive the ball in alternative and unusual goal scoring or goal providing opportunities. And you'll see rotation in terms of full-backs, getting beyond wing players. You'll see front players, false number 9, as some people may say, coming deep, and midfield players running from beyond. So there's rotation. Where are we? Clever move. And as appropriate, progress the play early, quickly and efficiently through all areas of the field in order to attack and get to the attacking third, enabled to get goal scoring opportunities. So we've got lots to do as a coach, but we need to understand the big picture, and then obviously we need to devise practices to enable us to do this. So there are attacking strategies and principles, and these are our defending strategies and priorities. As soon as we lose possession, we need to be recovering early and quickly. Teams will need to be able to construct a sound defensive platform from which more assertive defending can take place. So as soon as we lose that ball, can we get back? Do we recognise it? Have we concentrated? Are we mentally aware of what our roles and responsibilities are? What do I need to do? When do I need to do it? How do I do it? Then, the ability to defend against quick inter-passing sequences and combined movements will test the skills of the defence to the maximum. So we've gone forward. We've lost control of the ball. I'm now outnumbered maybe for a split second. There might be 4 of those players coming against 3 of us. Do we know what to do? Can we buy time for people to get back? How do we do it? What do we need to do? So, the sole and invariable tactic of pressing all over the pitch for as long as often as possible has been replaced with a more varied mix of defending tactics. So, long gone are the days where we press. We may need to drop. It might not be appropriate to press. We might be tired. We might be fatigued. We may need to choose to play that as a strategy where we concede the ball and we drop back and we deny the space behind. But we also need to know when to press and when to drop, okay? During attacking play, teams should remain mindful of the needs for security. So again, psychological side. We're attacking, but I need to be ready to defend. But that's not being negative, and we don't venture forward because of that. But players around me, behind me, are ready. They're ready to get back and defend. And like you said, during attacking play, teams should remain mindful of the need for security. Often teams that counter-attack quickly lose possession and instantly become vulnerable to a counter-attack from the opposition. And I think you see, in our country, Arsenal have been levelled with that. Very vulnerable to the counter-attack. A lot of emphasis on attacking. That's okay if you've got the best players and you end up scoring or goal kick, no problem. When you don't, do you need to defend? How do we need to do it? Do we pay attention to the defensive side and the responsibilities as well? Just on the defending strategy as well, can we recover possession as early as appropriate, disrupting the opposition's build-up play through team pressing, cover and compactness? Do we defend with controlled and intelligent intensity as early and high up the pitch as possible? If opportunities to win the ball back early are denied, players should recover quickly to organise a compact defensive block behind the ball. We need to minimise the number of entries into the penalty area from all positions in the defending half. Protect the area behind the back line and in front of the goalkeeper. These are the priorities. And also secure the space in front of the back line and behind the midfield defensive line as a significant priority. And if possession is regained, can we think about counter-attacking? So as a coach, I want to understand the basics of the game. Can I deny the space behind my back line? Can I also limit the space in front of the back line to stop the opposition getting in the positions where they can hurt us and penetrate us? So, systems of play. Systems of play. Invariably, there are many systems of play. And they are just numbers. But the teams that go on and play the good football and win things are organised, are disciplined. And that's what I intend to show this afternoon about Yes, we want players to improvise and play off the cuff, and be inventive in the right areas and creative. Can they do their job? So, I'm a great believer in when players start at a young age, there's continuity. They come through the programme, there is consistency of positions. They may have well have played in lots of different positions, and they also have an understanding of relationships between players. So, if you look at the system 1-4-3-3, and I've numbered up, I think that you might play this way, and I've got a back three there, back four. Oh, so. As you can see, the main difference is in the midfield area. And that basically, when you play the 4-3-3 system, there's one holder and two advanced midfield players, which is my preferred system. And obviously I've said you pick your system based on the players. And if you look at certain clubs, and you look at Barca, that's the system, they play that, that's their philosophy, that's the way they play. Now they morph and they change into other things. Fantastic. And that's what we need to do. We need to be versatile. And I've picked a 4-2-3-1 system. 4-4-1-1, call it what you like, withdrawn striker. You can call it all different things. However I number it, whatever system you want to say it is, 4-3-3, 4-4-1-1, whatever, do my players know their roles and responsibilities? Can we be organised? So, there's the two systems, and what I believe as someone who's been a technical director and devised the syllabus, in England we start off playing 5-a-side football, and then we progress to 7-a-side, 9-a-side and 11-a-side. And I'm a great believer that you can take them through the system and they know their roles and responsibilities. And when you come to a new number, you go from 5-a-side to 7-a-side, or 7 to 9, 9 to 11. Players will not have to change. They know their roles. So, as we just said, in England, that's how we do it. Under 9s and under 10s play 7-a-side. Prior to that, they play 5-a-side. Grassroots football, 5-a-side. And then they progress to 9-a-side and 11-a-side. Now, whatever system of play you play, the principles of the game are the same. Systems of play don't win you games, but they help. It is about the players that you have. It's about the decisions they make, their technical ability, their mental strength. However, I'm a great believer, if we're organised and we know what we're doing, when we're attacking or defending, we've got more of a chance. So, the principles of play are the same. I truly believe it's vitally important to replicate and maintain a consistency for young players to follow, allowing them to have continuity as they progress through the academy system and games. This will help them to develop their knowledge and understanding of the real game and thoroughly understand and know the roles and responsibilities of each position. And that's what I want to show you this afternoon. Position specific. So it's a little bit more, I say advanced, my rules for the players. You can have a coach that has the same system, but he or she implies different rules, and I call them rules. These are the things I want you to do. This is what we need to do to be most effective, and why we do it. But every coach has a different idea and a philosophy, and that's what makes a game so interesting. So, I talked about continuity, and I was going to get the players out here to see and show you. In terms of time, I'm conscious of time, but I will talk about it and show it on the practical side. I think I'll do that. So, in terms of the numbers, 7-a-side, and I make sure the players are numbered. They're not just a number, they're a player, they're valued. They need to know what the 2 does, the 3 does. When the ball's at 2, where do I go as 3? Where am I as 6? So there's relationships from an early age and stage. So So if you look at the 7-a-side and we progress to the 9-a-side, what we in fact do in the 4-3-3 system is we add an 8 and a 10. Now you might say the 2 and the 5 are like a 7 and 11. They're similar, they have similar roles. And in this system, if you progress, there's what's the word I'm looking for? There's never any difference between playing 5-a-side, because if we played 5-a-side, we omit the 2 and the 5. So when we start off playing 5-a-side, we'd have the 3, the 4, the 6 and the 9, and the 1. So when we go to 7-a-side, we've added the 2 and the 5. There's consistency. So now the 9-a-side, we add the 8 and the 10. So now we're going to progress from the 9-a-side to the 11-a-side. And what I'm going to do this afternoon is establish some rules for the 9-a-side and pin down the players' roles and responsibilities. Show them how to play out from the back. Let the other team decide how they're going to play. Initially I will control that as a coach. I'm definitely that coach that sits in that top corner. Was it an S and a J? That's me. And then I'll loosen the reins. So, we progress from the 9-a-side to the 11-a-side. We then add the 7 and the 11. So all the way through, there's continuity. I get a chance to play in different positions. I know the role. It's a smooth progression. But what happens if we want to play a different system? We can play a different system. And up until Christmas, we can play this system, or we can play that system. It's just a number, but we need to know our roles, and our responsibilities are different when we play that. So, there might be a little bit of inconsistency, and you see there's changes. So at 7-a-side, we have the same. And again, if we had 5-a-side, we take out the 2 and the 5. We get to 7-a-side, we've added the 2 and the 5. Now it changes, because we want to play 4-2-3-1. So, the 6 and the 8, the 6 just shifts, and you get that. It's not rocket science. And then we accommodate it by just adding the 7 and 11. But players are free to rotate. And if 2 wants to go and get beyond 7 and 5 wants to get beyond 11, it's no problem. Because the players understand the system. They know their job within the system. Players might rotate. Don't always encourage it, but as they get older and they have a basic understanding of the system, and then the players start to develop, their traits might be that they're more inclined to sit and be a number 6. They might be an 8 and 10 who look to get beyond the 9. Okay? So, practice. Everybody says in England, practice makes perfect. No. What practice will do is make permanent. And I say as a coach, you get what you practice, so practice again. Don't expect to go out and take training and coaching sessions and do something totally alien to what you're going to do on a Saturday and expect it to happen. It's a long process. It takes time, many hours. As we said, practice makes permanent. So let's practice the right things from an early age. Players will make mistakes. No problem. It's how you deal with the mistakes. How do I handle that as a coach? For me, position, the position of players, is the key to maintaining possession. And patience is also needed to penetrate the opposition. So the 4 Ps. And I'll be referring that. Let's keep the ball. Not for the sake of keeping it, for looking for opportunities and waiting for the moment to penetrate, to play through, to get behind, whether it's in the air, along the floor centrally, or around. That last one's really interesting for me, and you may have seen that, people quote that. Teach them the game, and not to win the game, and the winning will take care of itself. So from an early age, if we can teach them the game, the principles of play, their roles and responsibilities, make sure they're technically efficient, tactically they're sound, comfortable in possession, that's what we'll get in the end. Now, what do we actually practice? What's going to make our players proficiently efficient? What's going to make them win games? What's going to make them better? So for me, the most important things, are we comfortable with the ball? From an early age, do we all have a ball each? Do we manipulate the ball? And I call it ball familiarity, manipulation, mastery, curve coaching. Can I master the ball? Can I make it do what I want it to do? Can I bring it down? Can I control it with my left foot, my right foot, my chest, my head, my thigh? Can I use my left foot, my right foot? Can I protect the ball? Screen it, shield it? Is the ball my friend? Have I spent hours and hours in the garden, in the house, working with my ball? So to me, 1v1s, 2v2s, being comfortable with the ball is imperative. It's major, it's massive. So, the things I practice, what do I actually practice? All my sessions will have ball familiarity. I then take it, what I call a rotational warm-up. And rotational warm-up is technical stuff done in a fluid movement. The game's played through 360 degrees. Yes, there's time to practice in twos, hone the technique. Yep, lots of fun, but I need to move. So the game is fluid. I'm a great believer in playing football on the move, getting young players to play with their head up, having pictures, combination play, little 1-2s, little give and goes, improvisation, all the things what great players do. Is it born? Is it nature or is it nurtured? I'm a great believer you're born with certain characteristics and assets, but I heavily now am more for practice the right things, make it permanent. And when you see the players, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, is it they was just born a great player? I don't know. I think there's been a lot of practice in there. A lot of repetition, a lot of guiding. So for me, I'm verily, and I'll come on to it in a minute, think of a session in 6 parts. And there's not many practices I do. Master the ball. Technical practice will also help to improve their aerobic stuff. And I'm a great believer when you deliver sessions that you can work all aspects. You can work on the technical, the tactical, the psychological, the physical. Be a coach that encompasses the lot. Yes, I might have a specialist coach come in and develop certain things. As a coach, have I got an understanding of it? Can I start to develop the player and link and make sure every session challenges them in all 4 corners? So, I talk about magic diamond practice. I won't talk about it too long. In England, or in any country, we talk about the principles of play. And a very simple practice for me is the rondos, the rounds, 4 versus 2. And basically, I'm trying to get the ball from here to you, the audience. And I have people in the way. Saying the quickest way to get the ball into you is to penetrate, play through. That's simple, it's efficient, it's correct. If I can't play through you, I need to understand about playing around you. And there's some articles in the magazine which I've written, and they're fantastic. When I say they're fantastic, they're good articles, and they show the various ways that we can penetrate opposition. So, the basics. 2 players on my team. 1 player up there, me here. 2 defenders. How do we get the ball from this unit to that unit? It's a practice that I constantly remind players of. It's the basics of the game. It's having an understanding of the patience and position of players to be able to not be able to go forward, lend the ball to someone, give it to them to get it back to play through. And the appreciation of the weight of pass, the ability to move players out of the way, because they're not going to move. So I need to manipulate them and move them. And if I have an understanding of how we do it, that player may do it. It may have to go up, back, through. We may even have to be more patient where it goes up, back, and now the space is on the other side. So I'm constantly asking my players and challenging my players, where is the space? And you'll hear me say it this afternoon. Where is the space? Because that's where we need to get the ball. How do we do it? So, moving on. So there's 4 practices I've put on, and these are the other 2 practices, really. And I talk about functional practices. I talk about back 4s, playing out from the back. It might be back 4s defending from crosses. So, lots of individual stuff, and then we progress it to the unit, working with midfield, the front players, the back players in isolation, but then progressing it and joining and linking the units, which is very important. And these are just basically, without reading it word for word, we're talking about back 4s, midfield players, maybe getting the ball off back 4, timing to come and receive. Then when I've got it, how do we get it into the front? Very basic practices, but continually doing it, revisiting it. Everything is done working backwards from the game. I'm a great believer, you look at the game, the 11v11, and you go backwards and you go, what do we need to practice? Why do we need to practice? And too often I see coaches deliver practices in isolation, has no bearing, for me, on the game. And a simple analogy is, if I've got an English exam, I'm not, if I've got an English exam at the weekend, I'm not going to practice German, I'm not going to practice mathematics, I'm going to work on whatever I'm being tested on. And I think as football coaches, we need to give our players the practices that we're going to play in the game. And there needs to be a relationship between the practices that we put on. And I feel that, when I come on to me, players love playing the game. They love playing the game. So, if we said about the need for change to challenge the players and constantly give them new things, I'm in agreement with that. But I also believe if you play the game, and you hear it often said, players would rather play a game than train. If you always play some form of game and improve their understanding, players can see where it fits into the game. And that for me is the biggest thing, the biggest message I'd like to send to you. Look at your practices. Do they relate to the game? If not, why not? Does it look like football? Well, it probably is. Make it look like football. So, for me, small-sided games, 7v7, 6v6, 8v8, 9v9, are really important. Really important practices. Now, the final aspect, the final bit in the jigsaw for me is actually playing with the numbers we're going to use in a game, but maybe have success by having overloads to get success. Chris talked about success. Success is important. And I might need to play 11 versus 7 and build it up. And I will do that this afternoon. I'm going to show you some examples of this. So my practices this afternoon will be the small-sided game part, and then I'm going to progress into that. And that's what I'm actually going to show you. So, they need to play the game. They need to understand about patterns. There's patterns. When we talk about the game being constant, variable, random, the game is random, but I don't want it to be too random. I want my players to be able to recognise when they need to do things. I want it to be constant. I want them to know what they've got to do, how to do it. And I don't want it to be random. I don't want players playing off the cuff, just doing their own thing. I want that at the right time. There's a time and a place for that, and that is an important part of the game. But overall picture, I want them to understand. So, basically I work in 2-week blocks with young players, attacking, defending, attacking, just revisit. And within that, I have a session. I think it's important to break it down into 6 parts. But basically, every session will cover the 4 corners. It will encompass technical and tactical, the physical. They'll be challenged mentally. It will challenge them socially as well. They'll have fun, there'll be interaction, there'll be many challenges. Now, as they get older, it's important to develop individual programs for players. And basically, if we have training sessions and they're an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the age, and they may well be younger and only have an hour. For me, the concentration span is less. It needs to be broken down into blocks, and I work in 15-minute blocks, 15 to 20-minute blocks. With younger players, it might only be 10-minute blocks. And there'll be change in between, time to reflect, time to get their feedback and what they feel. Sorry. Now, a typical attacking session, a warm-up, could be physical with senior players, but it'll be a ball. Then there'll be the technical aspect, then it'll be decision-making, skill, game-related, and it will always have a tactical nature, and there'll be a cool-down. So, I'm willing to discuss this with you as you see me walking around, but basically, that's it. 6 moments, whether it's attacking, and they're the practice that we incorporate, and there's the defending. So, it's really important for me that we practice the game. You get what you practice, so you might as well practice the game. Now, my practice this afternoon, if you look, there's going to be a 9v9, and if you look at that, the only players that are missing for the Reds and the Blues are the 7 and the 11. You probably can't see those numbers. But if you look at the blue team, kicking to the right, they're playing a 4-3-3 system, a 1-4-3-3 system. They've got a deep line midfield player, number 6. They've got an 8 and 10, an advanced midfield players, and they've got a number 9. So they're missing the 7 and the 11. The other system, the Reds are playing the opposite, a 4-2-3-1. So they have a back 4, they've got 2 deep line central midfield players, a number 10, and 1 up front. And that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on the Blues, and they will be restricted at the start. They'll be conditioned, they'll be locked into zones, and then we'll free it up as it develops. And then the players can make decisions, because as you can see there, the 10 has a problem. He might want to go and pick the 6 up. He might want to go and mark one of the 2 central defenders, the 3 and 4. That's up to them. And they can do that. As it develops, and I've shown them the basics, the players will make the decision. And the decisions they make will be based on the opponents and what they do. And we don't know what they're going to do. But we need to have the solutions and the answers to the problems that are going to be posed to them. And by putting them in thirds and locking them in, to give them the basics is a big part of what I do. And I spend a lot of time playing the game and players making the decisions based on what the opponents do. So from that is the practice I'm going to put on today. And tomorrow I'm going to take that into 11v11. The graphics might not be the best, but there's a full complement of players on there. So we're going to add the 7 and 11 for both teams. And I'm going to probably play from the edge of the penalty area to the opponent's goal down the other end. So, thank you for your time and attention. I'd like to ask if there's any questions, if we've got time, briefly before lunch. You can contact me on that email address. If you see me walking round, feel free to ask me a question or whatever you've got. But we'll have a few questions now. Is that all right, Jack? Over to Jack. Thank you.
Ktoś ma może jakieś pytania? Myślę, że więcej pytań będzie w czasie praktycznej sesji Colina, gdzie będzie jaśniej to wytłumaczone, po prostu będzie to na boisko tego, co szukamy, czyli samej gry. Więc no question. No. Możemy poprosić ten film? Not now, maybe, because we haven't time, sorry, Colin. But we have the film, can you? Spróbujmy obejrzeć ten film.
A lot of organisations are looking to break out of the straitjacket of formal, structured learning, which is both inflexible and costly. And many organisations have adopted a model called 70-20-10. And it's basically based on surveys and research that shows that around about 70% of what people learn to do their jobs well, they learn through experience and practice through doing their jobs. They learn about 20% through other people, through conversations, through having networks, through knowing the right people to ask the right question at the right time, and about 10% of learning in the workplace occurs formally. We've known for 126 years that the human brain doesn't retain a lot in terms of memory. Herman Ebbinghaus did research back in 1885, what is now known as the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, that shows that any one of us will forget about half of what we've been told within an hour of being told it, unless we have the opportunity to put that into practice within that hour. And so therefore taking people out of the workplace, putting them through a formal structured class, we might even test them and assume that they know what to do because they passed the test, but put them back into the workplace and we find that actually performance doesn't change. The reason that 70-20-10 has been taken up by so many organisations is that it overcomes two major problems with traditional training approaches. The first problem is cost. The second problem is timeliness. And organisations now expect the development of their people to run at the speed of business. And 70-20-10 helps organisations do just that. A lot of research has been shown that learning is all about context. And if you keep people in the workflow and provide them with facilities and support for learning, the learning is much more effective, it's faster, it's cost effective and efficient and effective. 70-20-10 requires people to think about the tools, practices and techniques that you're going to adopt outside of simply distributing information and running formal structured courses. So it requires managers to be involved in development because a lot of the 70 and 20, the experiential part of learning, has to be supported by managers in the workplace through new experiences, through the opportunity to practice, through exposure to new roles, new jobs, job swaps and so on and so forth. It also opens up whole new channels for learning. So, for example, the use of mobile technology, which is expanding rapidly. One of the questions I'm often asked is, if you're looking at a model like 70-20-10, you're obviously going to focus a lot more on what is called informal learning. And the question I'm often asked is, how do we manage that? And the answer to that is, that's the wrong question. You don't manage it. You can facilitate it, you can support it, you can help it happen, but actually you can't manage it. Basically, each of us individually manage our learning, and all we can do in terms of the 70-20-10 structure or any model that includes some sort of informal learning or self-directed learning is provide people with the right resources at the right time, through the right channel, and allow them to get on with it. And you'll never get a learning organisation if you're continually pushing content at people and expecting them to learn. Learning organisations only emerge once people, individuals, start to pull learning when they need it, where they need it, where it's going to be most effective for them, and when they've got problems to solve.